Two, two, 1, 2. What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to Monday night's late night agenda. And look, I'm pretty much on time for once, which is a nice change, isn't it? You know, I'm back from 3 days away, relaxed, ready to go. And I think I'm just going to try and ease myself back into this one because a lot has happened over the last 3 days. We'll talk about the international break, a little bit of injury news. We'll have a talk around Mohamed Salah's contract situation and lots of other pieces along the way as well. As always, appreciate you guys giving up your time to be here with little old me. It means a lot to me. And just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, all of the late night agendas are brought to you with thanks to our friends over at manscaped.com. Now the footy is back. Our friends at Manscaped are here with a masterclass to get you ready for the new season, ladies and gentlemen. The leaders in men's grooming have gone and done it again. They've launched the 4th generation performance package, including a new lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with the new Performance Package 4.0 by going to manscaped.com, and you can get yourselves free shipping and 20% off by using our code WFM20, and there is of course a link in the description. The Performance Package 4.0 by Manscaped is absolutely class and will take your grooming game to the next level. Just look at me. I'm groomed to within an inch of my life. Inside you'll find the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer formulations, and 2 free gifts. The 4th generation trimmer features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accident thanks to their advanced skin safe technology, because let's be honest, none of us want our nuts, you know, looking down and seeing the red treacling down the old nuts. No, none of us want that. With this skin safe technology, that will be avoided. The Lawnmower 4.0 has, as you know by now, a 7,000 RPM motor, gives you the ability to turn on the 4,000 LED K spotlight as well when you want that precise shaving. The nose and ear hair trimmer is also waterproof, as is the Lawnmower 4.0, so you can use that away if you're at the sink or whatever. And also you get 2 free gifts, as I mentioned earlier on. Those free gifts include the boxer briefs, which I really like, they're very comfortable, and also the Shed travel bag. But most importantly, inside that travel package, or inside the Performance Package 4.0, you will also get the fantastic liquid formulations, the Crop Preserver, and ball deodorant. There you go. What more can I say, ladies and gentlemen? Again, get yourselves over to manscaped.com, use our code WFM20, and now let's get straight into the show. Hope Salah doesn't leave. First thing I read. God, yeah, I know. I mean, look, let me start off by saying, from what I believe, my own personal opinion, does anybody really believe that Mohamed Salah demands anything? Because that was the giveaway for me in the headline. Now, funnily enough, we've seen publications that are owned by the same companies give conflicting information on the Mohamed Salah wage scenario, shall we say. And look, again, as soon as I read the phrase Mohamed Salah demands 500 grand a week at Liverpool, I thought to myself, no, I'm sorry, I'm not having it. That doesn't remind me of Mohamed Salah. When you think of the word demand, you don't think of Mohamed Salah. He's far too humble a guy for that. So look, is he probably worth that type of a wage? Will other clubs potentially pay it? Yeah, they might. But I also think that people are maybe a little bit ill-informed of how much Mohamed Salah currently makes at the football club. I mean, the wage fee of 200 grand a week keeps getting thrown around by people, and that probably is in and around his base wage. But as we know, Liverpool Football Club like to incentivise the players' contracts. You know, if they score more goals, the team do better, they would receive better financial remuneration for that. And I believe Mohamed Salah's current contract, a more realistic figure, would probably, and again, I am sort of guessing here because none of us know the ins and outs of all the players' contract details, I'd say he probably earns closer to between 3, maybe 350 grand a week, depending on, of course, how good a week or how good a few weeks Mohamed Salah has had and how far along in the season we are. Because if we look back, and I'll read this out to you later on, there was something that was leaked quite a long time ago about Roberto Firmino's contract. And again, whilst we don't know if this information is true, it does kind of maybe shed some light on what potential bonuses are there for the players if they achieve certain targets. And I'll go through that in a couple of minutes as well. But yeah, it's all nonsense. I don't believe a word of it, to be honest with you. I think the discussions are still ongoing between Mohamed Salah and the club. I think they will always be courteous conversations because both parties have nothing but admiration and respect for each other. Does Mohamed Salah deserve a new contract? Absolutely. The man has been doing the business non-stop for the Reds. Does he deserve to be the highest paid player at the club? Again, I would say yes, absolutely. But I think as much as I'm nervous about, and I've always been honest with you guys, I've been nervous about the PSG stuff in the background, and I believe it'll get sorted. I really do believe that the club know Mohamed Salah's value both commercially and on the field, and I think we'll find a situation where this issue is resolved, and we have time. Time is on our side. It's not like the transfer window. I think the club will get it done. All the other stuff, that's a whole another ballpark. We talk about the transfer window and how we feel about that. But just on that one topic, on Mohamed Salah, I honestly feel that it's probably going to get sorted. That's how I feel about it anyway. Right, what have we got, folks? Massive bonuses, says Brian. Yeah, again, I'll go through what I spoke about before. Darren said he ain't getting 500 grand a week. Nobody said he was getting 500 grand a week. Darren, mate, just go argue with yourself in the corner, buddy, if you want to. Salah to replace Mbappe at PSG next year, in my opinion, said Henry's big con. That was my fear, mate. I've been open about that. That's been my worry as well. But, I think the club are obviously going to be aware of this. If I'm aware of it, if you're aware of it, if the average Joe Soap's aware of it, the club surely can't be unaware that potential will be there. So I imagine we'll see this resolved. I do. I'm upbeat on it. I'm generally... he seems like a happy player to me. He seems like a settled player to me. And I think the club understands that they have a special talent on their hand and that, something will be resolved. I don't know how. I'm not a money man. I don't know if, more image rights or more bonuses or, help with other commercial stuff to help boost his worldwide image. I don't know. But the likes of Jerry Cardinal and that investment, that's what they do. They do image rights. They do media. That's how they help improve and grow brands. So, I'm optimistic on it. I've got to be honest. We don't deserve you, Craig. No, jeez, I don't know if that's in a good way or a bad way, mate. Some other people in the Liverpool fan base would say, we don't deserve you, Craig, as in, none of us have done anything to deserve this crap. But yeah, it is what it is, man. Let me just take a second to say, Connor and I were away for the weekend. We were over at the boxing, over at Josh Warrington's fight against Mauricio Lara and Katie Taylor as well at Headingley. And I've got to say, it was my first ever time being fortunate enough to visit Bradford and Leeds, because we spent some time in both cities, and salt of the earth people. That's all I can say. Really, really lovely people. We enjoyed both cities. We enjoyed mixing with people. We enjoyed chatting with people coming up and saying hi. And shout out to Bradford and Leeds, absolutely, and of course the people at the Headingley Stadium. It was a great event, and we really would enjoy ourselves. We were treated really well. People in the city were absolutely lovely, and so just massive shout out, especially to all the guys that I stopped and talked to as well. A couple of staff in Nando's came up and said hi as well, which was really nice. You have to have a cheeky Nando's when you're out and about, don't you? So shout out to those two gents as well. And yeah, it was lots of fun. Really enjoyed ourselves, and thank you for making us feel so welcome in both cities. It was a pleasure to be over there. Hi Craig, who will receive the 5k charity bet? What 5k charity bet is this, Jens? I don't know of any 5k charity bet that I'm involved in there, pal. I have a 500 quid charity bet with Goldbridge. If that's what you're talking about, then we'll worry about that, mate, when the season comes to an end. So for those who aren't aware what Jens is maybe referring to, myself and Mark Goldbridge put on a £500 charity bet at the start of the season. If Liverpool finish above United, Mark would have to pay that to my chosen charity. And if United finish ahead of Liverpool, I will pay that to Mark's chosen charity. And there's also a £250 bonus in there. If one of the teams happens to win the league, then the other would have to add another 250 on. So look, I did this last season as well with a Manchester United fan named Andy. I lost, and I happily paid up the money to an autism charity that he chose, which again was a pleasure to do. And I'll be the same if I lose it to Mark this season, although I'm hoping I won't, obviously, but if I do, I will of course respect the bet as I always do, and happy to give money to charity as and when. Is it just me, or do you look more tanned? Well, I've been outside, so that's a start. Do you know what I mean? And it was quite warm over there. So yeah, I've been outside, and that's always good. Well, rare for me, but good. Yeah, so maybe I am a little bit more tanned, but it's good. I needed it, didn't I? I need a bit of sun on the face anyway. Craig, he's talking about the bet you had with Rio Ferdinand. Oh no, I didn't have any bet with Rio Ferdinand. Rio Ferdinand did not agree or acknowledge or reply to any of my bets. You had a 5k challenge with Ferdinand if he accepted, yes, which he did not. Never, and no, look, nor did I expect. Like, how Ferdinand wouldn't know who the fuck I am. You know what I mean? I put the bet out there, and of course he didn't acknowledge or accept it, but it is what it is. Hence I went on and had the bet with Mark. But look, it's all good. How long is Harvey Elliott's injury? There's a question I see immediately from Ross Gillen. The good news on this one, mate, is that so he did withdraw from the England under-21 camp, but the good news on this one, buddy, is that it looks like it was precautionary, and according to James Pearce of The Athletic anyway, he will be in contention for the game against Leeds this Sunday at 4:30. So good news on that one with regards to Harvey Elliott. It does look like it was more precautionary than anything else. Takumi Minamino, probably more of a doubt for the game of the weekend. Obviously, he picked up a little knock while away in international duty with Japan. We don't know, or at least I don't know, the full extent of that one yet. But according to The Athletic anyway, it looks like he could be more of a doubt for the game against Leeds at the weekend. And of course, look, I still don't know, as many of you don't, what the situation is with Roberto Firmino. We hope it's good news, of course, and I'm sure when Jurgen Klopp gives his press conference ahead of the game against Leeds, we'll probably get more information on it. But as of right now, like I said before, I don't want to put any false information out there, so I'm not going to start guessing around the Bobby Firmino situation. We just hope that it's good news and we'll have him back playing ASAP. Opinion on the end of the fight, said Scotty. Just unlucky, man. These things happen in boxing. Clash of heads, bad cut. Doctor deemed that he wasn't able to carry on. Technical draw. It is what it is, dude. That's the chance you take, isn't it, when you go to these things? And of course, you wish Warrington got a better outcome and the Leeds fans that were there to back him. But, as I said, sport, mate, these things happen. Thoughts on the recent Irish performances? Daniel, it's for another conversation, dude, for another day. I read something today, actually, that suggested that Stephen Kenny could be under... I could be fired, actually, if we don't get a result against Serbia, which I think is ridiculous. But look, as I said, that's chat for another day. I bet Ferdinand has heard about you. I don't know, Jimmy, mate. All I can say is they put it out there, as Jens said. Yeah, absolutely did. Didn't hear anything back, so we move on. We're 3 games into the season now. It'd be much easier for somebody to get onto the horse now that they signed Ronaldo and all. Do you know what I mean? But this was done beforehand. But it is what it is, man. It's all good, right? Let's get into what you guys want to talk about. We could have signed Swiss keeper Sommer better than that. I think most of us will probably have mixed thoughts about Alberto Moreno looking back at his time at Liverpool. Craig, do you want the Premier League or Champions League? If you have to choose which one? Always Champions League for me, man. Always. I've always been I've always been straightforward on this one. It's always Champions League for me. It's the bigger of the trophies as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, sorry, I think... Oh, it's lagging again there, is it? Sorry, folks. I'm just saying there was a bit of... I did see there was a bit of a lag there, so I'm just waiting to see if it sorts itself out. Any truth in thirds coming back? No. Would you want him back either, Mark? Let's be fair. Like, he's... he's nowhere near the level. How long would it take him to even prove fitness? No. Just, remember the good times with Danny Sturridge, but no, he's not coming back. Evening, Craig. I may have been in for a while. Have you seen Sané BS to Chelsea? I haven't, Bish. No, haven't seen it. Do I like Africa as an entire continent? Yeah, I like everybody, mate. I like everybody, and I want to try and visit as many parts of the world as I can as well. But it's a very random thing. I love Links Africa, if that helps. I'm a big fan of Links Africa. But yes, of course, mate. I like everybody. Mark said that he thinks Salah might go to Barcelona. Mark's fully entitled to say whatever the fuck Mark wants to say. I've messaged him, telling him that he's wrong, but, he was wrong about a couple of things in that Salah little video, but, it is his place to say what he wants. I like to believe that I'm more clued up on Liverpool, obviously, than he is, and obviously he'd be more clued up on United than I am, but, it is what it is. I don't think he's going to end up near Barcelona. How the fuck could they afford him, first and foremost? We know the situation that Barca are in. They're up shit creek. They were scrambling around trying to get rid of players. Pjanic went off to Turkey, to Besiktas. They couldn't give away Coutinho. Dembele moved on, just like I told you. Or not Dembele, excuse me, Griezmann, just like I told you. They were going to try and offload him. They managed to shift him on as well to free up a lot of money on the wages. So there was absolutely no way in hell that Barcelona could afford Mohamed Salah. And I don't know how we came up with that conclusion, to be honest with you. he did speak about the possibility of Salah moving on, and to touch on that, just like I said to you guys before, I've always had to worry about PSG down the line, but I'm still very confident that the club will agree a contract extension with Mo. Again, that's just my own personal opinion. I'm not trying to say that I know something others don't. I don't. I'm just trying to read his body language, and he seems like a happy, settled dude to me. Why is Mane declines not talked about? Are you fucking mad? Everybody talks about it. If you go onto Twitter, there's people bitching about it every 5 minutes. I try and focus not on the negatives as much as I can on here. And look, Sadio Mane, as I've said numerous times, he was the first one to admit himself that he was not up to his own high standards last season. And we're 3 games into a new campaign. I cannot sit here and say to you that Sadio Mane is finished. Why would I? He scored. So let's give Sadio time. Players were fatigued with a very, very couple of years there. A lot of these guys, not just Liverpool players, but a lot of international players who didn't really have a break, played right through. And this summer was the first time that a lot of these guys got to actually rest and recuperate. So, you can speak about Sadio Mane however you want, but to say that his decline or his poorer performances haven't been spoken about, they have on here. We take everything at face value, mate, and we open everything up for discussion. So, I just don't like players saying like that he's finished, or people saying that he's finished and stuff, because I think that's very, very unfair. The Keita situation, God, I really do feel for obviously all the Ghanaian people right now. And look, as much as I know very little about that situation, other than it seems to be a bit of a military takeover and an ousting of the Ghanaian leader, our first concern obviously around Naby Keita is we hope that he gets out safely. And from what I believe, I think a plane has been chartered or is being chartered to remove him from that situation and, hopefully get him back to Liverpool safe and sound. But look, it's a very disturbing situation all in all there. It's not my place to comment on it. I'm not politically minded, but just from regarding Naby, I hope that we receive the nod soon that he's back safe and sound. But it is scary, isn't it? Like, it's a few things have happened over the last week or two that anybody could score that goal. See, this is where you're shown that you have a severe lack of knowledge about the game and you're just trying to be a dickhead. There, toxic Cash. Anybody could score that goal. Fair enough, you can say that with your lazy half-arsed argument. I could counter your lazy half-arsed argument by saying you only score the goal, mate, if you're in the right position to finish it, which he was, and he did. If he hadn't timed his run, if he hadn't kept up a play, if he hadn't had the instincts to get into that position, he wouldn't have been there to finish shit, mate, would he? So I mean, rather than just pissing and whinging, try and actually add something to the conversation, buddy, because, to say anybody could have finished it, that's like saying that any striker doesn't follow in to the 6-yard box or anyone doesn't follow in a penalty to see if the keeper saves it. It's all about instinct. It's all about being in the right place. You ask any coach, they'll tell you they would happily see a forward in there missing as long as they're making the right runs and doing the right things, because we all know eventually those things will come good. You make the right runs, you do the right things, you'll eventually reap the reward. So, you look at it as a negative, I look at it as a positive. I suppose it's how you want to look at things, dude, isn't it? I'm a glass half full kind of guy, but a hair half empty kind of guy. So, you know what I mean? Hey, Craig, what did you think of Paddy's debut? Nearly lost my money, and hope you had a good night out on Saturday regardless of the main event. Paddy Pimblett, I take it you're talking about, Mike, and yeah, he's a character, isn't he? He's a good lad, Paddy. He's you can't but like him. Do you know what I mean? I didn't see the fight. I seen the knockout, but apparently he got rocked a little bit early days. But that's part and parcel of the fight game, isn't it? And he did what he said he was going to do. He went out there and he stopped the kid in the first round. And I liked his little post-fight interview over Instagram, calling them lizards. That was brilliant. I loved a bit of that. And yeah, wish him all the best. Did you watch the England game? Bellingham was class, my favourite non-Liverpool player for sure. I think we all hope, mate, that he won't be your favourite non-Liverpool player for too much longer, because look, there's no shortage of Liverpool fans, myself included, out there that are hoping that Liverpool, of course, do make a move for Jude Bellingham. And of course, this will now see 100 people reply saying Liverpool haven't got money to buy anybody, blah, blah, blah. But, I think there's something to it. I've always thought there's something to it. I've made no secret of the fact that I think Hendo's been having a word in his ear, and he was playing in that midfield trio with Trent as well. Which again, I didn't watch the England game, so I've no idea how any of them performed. But you look, Jude Bellingham's a huge talent, isn't he? And he's going to have no shortage of offers for clubs to take him on when he does decide to up and leave Borussia Dortmund. And I, and most other Liverpool fans in the chat really, really want him to come to Liverpool. So fingers crossed on that one. Congratulations to Taylor Taylor, said Dara. Class act, Dara. Thank you, mate. She was wasn't the greatest Kaylee Taylor performance, but she got the job done, and now hopefully she gets her fight with Serrano, and we get to see her have the big fights now, which is what she deserves. How long has Salah got left? I think contracts usually run up until July, don't they? So what, 21 months, something like that, left on his deal. So yeah, plenty of time. You'd really. I think about it this way with Mohamed Salah. You'd want it sorted out before you go into the January transfer window, really, wouldn't you? Because you don't want to be going into that window 18 months to go, clubs sniffing around. Probably encourage clubs to maybe try and destabilise things a little bit with Mohamed Salah, or turn his head a bit. So hopefully the club will get it done and dusted over the coming days and weeks. And again, we just wait to see, don't we? Harry's big concept, Bellingham going the same way as Mbappe 2021 went somewhere else, not us. I don't know. To my knowledge, mate, again, just to my knowledge, just playing devil's advocate here, Kylian Mbappe's got nowhere, as far as I'm aware. As far as I'm aware, he's still kitting out for PSG every week. Now, he will go. He'll go to Real Madrid, like I think what you're hinting at, but he hasn't gone anywhere yet. So, there is that. If I want to be factual. And look, nobody knows what'll happen with Sancho, but I don't want to hype people up, nor do I want to piss on people's cornflakes. We don't know what might happen. And I don't want to go back over transfers. I don't want to be sitting here talking about the transfer window anymore. We spent months going through that. We're all deflated over it. Excuse me. There's a bit of division in our fan base again, and I'm here to try and get rid of that. I'm here to try and bring some positivity, bring people together, and look forward to see what Jurgen Klopp and these players can try and accomplish this season with who we have right now. There will come a time where we'll look at the ownership, we'll look at the next transfer window, we will talk about all of that. But right now, let's just remove the window for a bit. Let's talk about the fact we've got Leeds coming up the weekend. Let's talk about the fact that we got Jordan Henderson tied down to a new deal, which was great, albeit, of course, I didn't like the day it was done. I would have rather it was done afterwards or beforehand, but again, still got done, so there is that one. Craig, would you rather have Haaland or Mbappe next year? Well, look, what the previous poster said, Mbappe will end up at Real Madrid. He's publicly come out and said basically that he'll sign a pre-contract with them in January. Well, I don't know if he's publicly said that, sorry. But he's been pretty public about the fact that he wants to go to Real Madrid. So, I don't... A lot of people are starting to link us with Haaland. And of course, nobody in the world would say no to Erling Haaland arriving at their club, would they? But you do have the Mino Raiola shadow hanging over that deal. We spoke before with Steve and Jack on the Cop the Week show that we do about the fact that Raiola apparently wanted a wage each year. A wage, not just a one-off fee for Haaland to move, on top of course, the transfer fee, and on top of what Haaland would be getting per week. So, again, more transfer stuff that isn't really the right time to talk about now, because we're all sick to death of it, let's be honest with you. As Liverpool fans, it was a frustrating window and we're all fed up about it. So let's start focusing on the positives, which is how we go about beating Leeds, how Jurgen Klopp can manage these players through, and let's have a little look again towards the Champions League as well. We kick off, obviously, with AC Milan as the first game. Austin Westbrook, how are you, my man? Said, hi Craig, I wanted to support the channel and need some myself. I'm going through a difficult breakup and still love her, but I'm so lost right now. Dude, I'm telling you, I feel you. I was there. I mean, when I was... Probably, I don't know how old you are, your own business, mate, but I can tell you, my first love absolutely broke my heart, dude. And it took me the longest time to get over it, but get over it I did, mate, and met my beautiful wife, have my family, couldn't be happier, dude. So look, I'm not gonna underplay what you're feeling right now, man. Your feelings are true, they're your feelings. But what I can say to you is, time does make stuff better. So don't think that this is the end of anything, dude. You know, learn from it. And I had to learn from mine because I really thought I did some stuff wrong in that relationship, you know, and move on. And, you know, each day I get a little bit better. But you got all of us here, dude. You know, you got us in here to come in, have a chat with, have a bit of fun. You know, we'll try and make you smile, try and keep your spirits up. And yeah, appreciate you reaching out, man. And I hope that you start to feel a little bit better, Austin. But, you know, lots of love from all of us, dude. And happens to us all. It's one of those horrible things, dude, where we all get our heart broken at some point. And, you know, you learn from it. We all will. And I'm sure that your partner will have learned from it as well, or your former partner will have learned from the situation. But, you know, keep your head up, dude. And plenty more good days ahead. I'm doing good, thank you, Walter White, mate. I'm really just happy to be back. You know, I was a bit nervous over the weekend, to be honest with you. If it just felt odd not being streaming, you know, sitting in a hotel room or whatever, or being out at the fight on Saturday. Just missed everyone. I'm just genuinely happy to be back on here, and I was so blown away by the reception that we got by people when we met and we were out and about over in Bradford and Leeds, and you know, to know that more and more people are starting to be aware of what we're doing. And a lot of people came up and said things like, you've cheered us up when I've been down. Tune in, you cheer me up, and the subscribers are really good. The chat's fun. Some other people saying they started to know what we're doing because of my work with Mark, and that's football, and that's cool as well. It's just really nice. Nobody had a bad thing to say. And they were lovely people. It just had such a smile on my face, as did Connor, of course, over the weekend. And it was a wonderful experience. It really was. I've been very humbled over the weekend. I mean, I still think, you know, I'm just little old me sitting at home. Nobody knows who the fuck I am. Why would they? But to have people coming up to you and you know, saying they appreciate what we, all of us, do here. And yeah, it's nice. It was very nice. Hey Craig, message you about the Palace game. Let me know if you're up for it. I don't know what you messaged me on, buddy, but I don't run any of the Anfield Agenda socials. So if it was on the Anfield Agenda Instagram, as an example, or on the Anfield Agenda Twitter account, I don't run those. In fact, I don't even have the password to the Twitter account, which is mad because people on Twitter keep thinking I'm running it, which I haven't. Connor and Jack run it. I don't even know the password. Instagram, I do have the password, and occasionally I do pop on to post something, but I don't read the DMs on there because, you know, it's a bit of a mixed bag, mate, and my confidence is low enough at times without reading some of that stuff. But if you want to hit me up on Twitter, mate, myself, you know, feel free. I mean, obviously, it'd be lovely to go to any games. How was your sniping? I don't know what that is, mate. Sorry, I'll have to move on. Thanks, Craig. Looking forward to seeing you guys every afternoon. Austin, honestly, man, it's a pleasure. And thank you for sharing, dude. And again, I hope you feel better soon, my man. Can't wait for the Leeds game. I'm sick of this international breaks at LFC, Andrew. Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Obviously, I was lucky this weekend. Well, I wasn't lucky. I planned it. I planned to go away the weekend of the international break, and I'll be away for the next international break. But it's horrible. I hate them. But there is a bit of news, by the way, that I wanted to get through with you guys. So let me just go through my notes here as well. So UEFA is set to lift the ban on away fans attending European games, which is brilliant news. Now, obviously, any travelling fans will, of course, be will have to adhere to each country's individual, you know, COVID rules. But UEFA are lifting the blanket ban, meaning that, you know, currently there was no mechanism or means in place for fans to travel to away European games. But now UEFA are going to lift that for the Champions League, the Europa League and the Europa Conference League. And again, it will be down to each individual country to assess, you know, what the state of play is and if they can accept travelling people or whatever. But again, great news and another sign that maybe we're starting to inch back towards a little bit of normality, because it's been amazing seeing fans back inside stadiums. I mean, I think it's cheered all of us up. But, you know, to get some away fans back in, particularly for those fantastic trips like some travelling Reds would have for this year. AC Milan last season, I believe, at the San Siro, great place. Porto, beautiful place to visit, I believe. And of course, Madrid, which, you know, we have history in that beautiful stadium, don't we? So, great news anyway on that one. A few more bits and pieces I want to go through. Yeah, so some stuff on RedBird Capital that I wanted to talk about. I'll leave it for a few more minutes because I'm sure there's more comments you need to get to. But remind me to talk about it because it gives you a little bit more of an insight, because a lot of people were starting to wonder, are Liverpool's owners now looking to sell perhaps? Is that why we didn't see investment in this window? And my thought was always no. I didn't believe that they were looking to sell. That some people might still want them to sell, and I would be certainly on the side of, I'm unhappy with the owners. I'm certainly on that side of this debate, but I will give you more information on that as well, straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So the officials, by the way, for the game against Leeds have been announced this week, and Craig Pawson will be the referee at Ellen Road, and Darren England will take charge of VAR for the game. So remember to keep that in your mind, because I'm sure I'll have forgotten by the time the weekend comes around. I always do. I'm always asking you guys who's the referee for the game. Right, so I'm just reading a few more things. Right, so again, I want to talk about the goal bonuses. So let me get back to Joel's comment, and then we'll go on to that. Craig, what do you think about what happened with Brazil versus Argentina? Said Joel Morris. I'm sure you all know what happened there if you weren't. So here's what happened. 4 English-based Argentinian players are accused of falsifying information on entry into Brazil to say that they weren't in UK for the previous 14 days beforehand, because if they were, they would have had to quarantine. Now, I believe the argument is, it's actually got nothing to do with England or the Premier League, this argument. It's actually to do internally with, is it CONMEBOL, the crowd that run that side of the world, or South American football. I believe that this is actually their issue, and the Brazilian FA think that there was an exemption granted to anybody playing qualification games, I believe, within the ecosystem of what they've set up. And the Argentinian FA... No, it's the other way around, isn't it? Yes, sorry. I think the Argentinian FA believed that there was something in place and the Brazilian FA don't. But what we seen was Brazilian health officials take to the field, and the game was eventually postponed, and Brazil were supposed to have a training session. That's kind of all I know about it. But it was a very strange thing to see in such a huge game with the world's eyes on it. I mean, Brazil versus Argentina, you know, it doesn't get much bigger in world football terms than that with regards to international. So, yeah, it was a strange thing. But, you know, it's not my place. I'm not qualified to talk about it. Loved seeing the tight slag off Liverpool about Alisson, Fabinho and Firmino not going. He doesn't play any of them. Who's tight? I don't know what the fuck that's about either. International football's a farce, said Dara Azizi. Do you think Ireland international football team should sack the manager? No, I absolutely do not. This goes way deeper than the manager, mate. This goes to... look at Brexit as an example. The FAI knew Brexit was coming, and therefore would probably cause issues with any potential Ireland players going and playing in England. So did we build up a structure? Did they invest in the youth system? No. Did they put anything in place to try and bring through the next generation of Irish players? No, of course they didn't. Look at the FA, or look at the RFU. Look at the GAA. They go out into the communities, they invest, they do things, they send coaches out to give master classes. Lots of stuff that the FAI should be doing. And right now, unfortunately, what we're seeing is that we just don't have the players. And that's not down to Stephen Kenny. And people will point to Stephen Kenny's track record, and I'll say, I understand you, but we need to be progressive, and we need to understand that that rebuild of the FAI throughout the entire system is going to take some time. And at least Stephen Kenny is trying to get the lads playing some type of modern football and not hoofball. That's my opinion on it. Right, anyway, I want to talk about the goal bonuses, because this was what I was speaking about earlier on. Now, I cannot say if this is true or if it's not true. It's been well put out there over the last year or two, but this is believed to have been from an excerpt from Roberto Firmino's contract with Liverpool, one of his contracts with Liverpool. And if it is true, and again I state if because I don't know if it's true or not, it would give an indication of what type of goal bonuses or clauses are in the players' contracts. And it kind of feeds back to what I spoke about with Mohamed Salah and his base wage of 200 grand, probably actually in real terms being a lot higher than that, maybe 300 or a little bit above it. But Let me go through this anyway. So, and I'm going to turn this sideways so I can read it bigger. It says, in the event that the player scores the following amount of goals for Liverpool in a season, he will receive the applicable bonus for each goal scored, excluding penalties. Such payments to be made monthly on a monthly basis with the player's salary in 8.1 above. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 clauses in it. So clause 1 said, for scoring goals 1 to 5 in the Premier League, Champions League or UEFA Europa League in a season, player shall receive £25,000 bonus for each goal 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. For scoring goals 6 to 10 in the Premier League, Champions League, UEFA League in a season, the player shall receive £45,000 for each goal 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then obviously number 3 is for scoring goals 11 to 15 in the Premier League, Champions League or the Europa League in a season, the player shall receive £65,000 for goals scored 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. And then number 4 said, for scoring goals 16 and above in the Premier League, UEFA Champions League or Europa League in a season, the player shall receive £85,000 for each goal 16 and above. Now again, I'm not saying that that is absolutely correct, but what I am saying is we do know Liverpool's players have incentivised contracts, meaning that goal bonuses, trophy bonuses, where we finish in the league, a lot of that stuff can really boost up their wages. So Mohamed Salah's 200 grand a week base fee, he probably receives a good bit more than that by the time he bangs a few in and the season finishes and he's fighting for the golden boot each year. So that's what I'm saying. So when you see this 500k figure and the 200k figure, it's put out there for one reason and one reason only, to try and cause a division between Liverpool fans and that person that we love dearly, Mohamed Salah. And we cannot let them do that, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot let these people try and undermine our football club and undermine our bond, really, with our footballers, and Mohamed Salah being one of them. So, yeah, the gap isn't as big as 200 grand to 500 grand. Let's be realistic about it. The gap is probably, I'd say, somewhere maybe 300 to 400, maybe a little bit over 4 with bonuses. That's probably where we'll see this thing end up. So, yeah, I wouldn't believe it, basically, is what I'm saying. I don't believe that it was a credible report that he's demanding 500 grand a week. But I also don't believe that he only earns 200 grand a week. I think he earns more. He'll get even more selfish, but then he won't. See, here's the thing. People read this, and of course, you know, that was my first instinct as well. When I read it, I was thinking, Jesus, if you're getting 45 grand or 65 grand a goal, then you're probably more inclined to be selfish. But at the same time, you have to be professional and the team has to win. So above all, the team has to be performing and doing well. So if you're going to be selfish and blatantly selfish, you're probably going to get it from your teammates and you're probably going to get it from your manager. So it's in everybody's interest that, just try and perform as best. I like to treat these people with goodwill, and I like to think that our players are. We've got a good group at the club, so I understand. It was my first instinct as well when you see these type of things to think, Jesus, if I'm 50-50 on something here, would I be passing or would I be trying to stick at top bins? But I trust these guys. I trust their professionalism, and I trust that they always try and make the right decisions. Craig, if Liverpool beat United twice, will you present the show naked? That sounds like I'm being rewarded for something, when in real life it's probably more you guys get punished for something. So let's just say no. Hello Craig, hope you're doing well. It's my birthday today, said Alpha X-Rays. Happy birthday, dude. It's my 40th birthday on Saturday, but happy birthday to you, my man. And I will be working on Saturday. I'll be streaming at 12:30. I'll be doing the early kickoff over on That's Football, and then I'll be doing the 5:30 game as well on That's Football. So I'll be working right through my 40th birthday, by my choice, of course, because I'll do stuff with my family, of course, and other stuff, and I've got some trips booked and all that jazz. But yeah, happy birthday to you anyway, my man, and I hope you had a great day. RedBird said, Owen Stack, no problem, mate. Thank you for reminding me. You look young for 40, Joe. My man, Joe. Joe knows. Joe's my mate. Good man, Joe. You can come back, sir. You can come back. Right, let's have a little look at this anyway. So, RedBird, now you better strap yourselves in, by the way, because I'm going to be reading here solidly for a couple of minutes. So make yourself comfortable and, we'll have a little chat about this afterwards. Red Bull partner Rob Klein gave some insight into the approach of the firm, whose busy last 18 months, this is from the Echo, by the way, have seen them acquire a majority stake in French second-tier side Toulouse, a slice of Indian Premier League cricket side Rajasthan Royals, and also looking to drive forward the third incarnation of the XFL in the US alongside Hollywood star Dwayne Johnson. So, I'm sure many American or North American people will know all about the XFL, but for those who don't, it was basically another league, not the NFL. It was another league that was brought in. It was originally, I think, Donald Trump and, if my memory is correct, Vince McMahon were behind it originally, if I remember, and it failed ultimately, but it's looking to be brought back, and RedBird are involved in that, and that is part of what they bring to the party. I don't know how it affects us, but anyway, we go on. Klein said, Jerry Cardinal, who's the RedBird founder, spent 20 plus years at Goldman Sachs as a partner investing in the private equity area, really building businesses alongside entrepreneurs, founders and family offices. That's who we are, that's what drives us, and that's our sourcing. We're not typically team buyers. We're here or where we take a stake in a team, usually looking to help grow that business. Hang on while I move back forward. Then it goes on another piece to say RedBird's deal with FSG was slightly different than what the usual focus is on, where they traditionally look to buy into underperforming businesses and help them to monetize what they do far better through introducing new avenues and maximizing existing ones. This is the case of some of the best assets in sports, with some of the best operators in sports. This is not the case with Liverpool of a mismanaged business or an underperforming business. This is the case of something that's already really great, where you have this global platform of premium assets with great management in Boston and in Liverpool. Our concept is to really help them grow. We're involved in their strategic growth committee. We're involved in their board. We have active dialogue about M&A, which is mergers and acquisitions, about real estate, about expansion, and what to do with media rights and where that goes. We think a lot about streaming. We think a lot about gaming and all the things that come with that. Ultimately, I think this can be a much bigger, broader platform. We're really doing it together in concert with them. It's a pretty tight partnership. So kind of gives you an idea of what the mindset was behind the owners for selling 11% of all of their holdings to RedBird. Now, I'm not saying that this is right or this is wrong. I'm just trying to be factual in what I'm saying here. And they've always said, FSG, that they would be willing to sell a minority stake in the club if it was good for strategic purposes. And all I'm doing here is mainly showing you that the strategic terms and the strategic thinking seems to be that they can help make the club more marketable, help them create new revenue streams, and help them with things like marketing and streaming, and as he said, their gaming and stuff like that, which is a lot of their backgrounds and a lot of their specialization. So that's kind of where we are with that one. Again, I'm not saying it's great, it's not great. That's for you to make up your own mind about. But yeah, again, as I said, that's just kind of where we are with that. And they said, they're not really going around buying up teams or whatever, but, they do own the majority stake in Toulouse. They do own Rajasthan Royals, or a stake in Rajasthan Royals in the Indian Premier League. So look, let's just wait and see what happens, yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, so again, it's no surprise that basically they're going to try and make Liverpool more valuable, therefore more valuable to them. But there was one more part of this, and this is a part that I didn't find so palatable personally. This is the part that I won't say worried me, but I thought the part that maybe started to show the true colours behind this a little bit. And again, just my opinion on it. So he said, again, this guy Klein said, we call it success-based investing. When we think about downside risk, we're generally looking to generate a 2.5 times or better over a 4 to 6 year hold. I read that, please tell me if I'm wrong, I read that when they think about the downside of something, they're generally looking to try and make 2 to 2.5 times their investment over a 4 to 6 year period. That's how I read that. If I am wrong, please fill me in. On the downside, we're generally looking to get our cost bases back through some form of either contractual cash flow or structuring a deal. So clearly, they're in it to make money. That's no surprise to anybody. But I suppose the big question that people, myself, other people, all Reds around the world will have to ask is, how do we accept that the game is moving towards and further away from its working class roots, towards a point where we want our club to be able to compete, but some things will be unpalatable to us and some things will be damn right unacceptable to us, like the European Super League, which was an absolute slap in the face to the traditions of us as football fans and European football fans, and for me was the straw that broke the camel's back with any trust regarding the owners. But if you see that specialists like RedBird are brought in with a background in trying to improve streaming for the club, or trying to improve maybe social media or gaming or other revenue streams, you know, you read that how you wish. But they're definitely in it to make money, no doubt about that. None of these guys invest to lose money. You know, our owners have seen their initial investment in the club raised dramatically from somewhere around 300 million to turning down a 3 billion offer previously as well. Now, one point that was raised to me by somebody in our Discord group, which, by the way, if you want to get into, you can become a member of Anfield Agenda FC. There is a link in the description below for that. It's $4.99 a month. You get all the emojis, you get the Anfield Agenda badge beside your name, you get into our Discord group and a few other bits and pieces. But anyway, Paul, full credit to Paul in this one. He said something to me the other day that we all kind of knew, but I'd never really put two and two together on. So Paul said, Craig, I've often heard you say that, you know, FSG have built a new stadium, they've built a training facility, they've improved in and around the stadium, they're looking to do the Annie Road end, they've built a club shop and all this stuff. But, you know, you've always said that they've done it with an interest-free loan, or a 3% interest on it to cover the cost of inflation. But basically, at a very, very, very low-cost loan. But here's the point that I never really joined the dots in my head. And this is where, again, shows you how naive I can be at times as well. I'm somebody that likes to try and keep on top of this. So the interesting part for me came when Paul said to me, so they loaned the money to the club, but they got it back. So they didn't pay for the main stand. They didn't pay for the Annie Road end, or won't pay for the Annie Road end. They didn't pay for Kirby. They didn't pay. That was a loan. And that was paid back by money that the club generated. So the club have serviced that debt, not FSG. But yet they've still seen the benefit of the increase in value of the club because of that. So the asset that they own, and that they didn't actually have to use any of their own money to pay for in the long term, will dramatically increase. So how you feel about that, again, is up to you. To me, it made me feel a bit more like, well, yeah, actually, thank you, Paul. The club are paying for that. So I shouldn't be thanking FSG for that. The low-cost loan against the commercial rate loan, absolutely better. 100%. Paying less interest on anything in life is better. We'll all agree on that one. But yeah, to think about the fact that, yeah, the club fucking paid for it. You know, you buying a shirt paid for it. Television revenue paid for it. People with season tickets paid for it. There's a good point to that. And one that I have to admit, I kind of sort of glossed over in my mind. And I shouldn't have. So thank you to Paul for raising that with me, and yeah, for putting that in my head. Harvey comes in and says, you can't afford 500k a week. Mate, go and fuck off, honestly. You don't, like, you're spouting shy. He's not going to get 500k a week. He's not asking for 500k a week, so fuck off back to wherever it is you crawled out of, mate, and spread your horribleness over there. Nobody wants to listen to your shite in here, pal, so TTFN. Well, so how do we feel about what I was just saying there, by the way? I mean, I never really put two and two together on it, but it is true. It is something that the club have paid off. The loan, I believe, is not on LFC's balance sheet, said Jamrock. Again, buddy, please, I know that you've been very good on these things and you've been very fair in your assessments. Please explain what you mean by it's not on LFC's balance sheet, mate, because, again, I'm not an accountant, so I'm happy to be informed on any of these things, dude. The Glazers have been doing it for years at United. No, it's different with the Glazers because Man United are on the stock exchange. Man United, and when you're on the stock exchange, from what I believe, you have your chairman has a duty to do what is best financially by the business above all else, and to try and maximise profits above all else. Now, the Glazers bought Manchester United with a leverage buyout. So they basically mortgaged the value of the football club and used none of their own money to buy it, and went in and bought Manchester United and have really high repayments on that and are still paying that off now. And of course, that on top of dividends they pay out to shareholders is different. Our owners used their own cash to come in and buy Liverpool. So FSG had 300 million, went in, bought the club. No debt on the club, but they came in and bought it with their own cash and wiped out any other debt that was there in the process of doing so. So very different circumstances to the way the Glazers went about buying Manchester United. And again, very different in the way the repayments are. Again, much higher interest because of the way the I don't remember what United was sold for at the time. I'd be lying to you if I said I did. Craig, you don't think a few more injuries and we're in shambles? Look, again, I had my say during the transfer window. I wanted us to bring in a forward and another midfielder, and I think that we were wrong not to do so. But I don't want to sit here and be a fan that revels in injuries. What type of an asshole does that make me? If I see a Liverpool player like Minamino picking up an injury, I don't want to be on here gloating about it, going, ha ha ha, we were all right about not making signings in the transfer window. No, none of us want that. None of us want any negative stuff around the club. I want Liverpool's players to be healthy. I want the club to do well. And I don't want to sit here and gloat or take any happiness in misery. No, of course I don't. Nobody does. We all want the same thing. Whether you're what would be called on Twitter as a top red, or whether you're just a regular Joe Soap like me, or whether you're an American, or whether you're in Canada, or whether you're in Africa, or wherever the hell in the world you are. We all want the same thing. We all want the club to do well. But some people have different views of what is, number one, what is success and what is acceptable. And I think what we need to try and do, and again, I'm not the person to solve all of these issues, I'm an idiot. But what we all need to try and do is realise that you're over here, I'm over here, let's try and get to here. So if we talk, if we communicate, if we try and explain why we feel the way we do without being an arsehole, or without immediately trying to one-up somebody or belittle their opinion, then we'll probably understand each other a bit more. We'll probably get to grips with what we all want from the situation. And we'll probably realise that, we've a lot more in common than we have that divides us. So I would say to all Liverpool fans right now, again, just my opinion, but there's too much. There's too much divisiveness. There's too much arguments within the fan base. We all want the club to do well. That's the main thing here. We all love Liverpool Football Club and we all want it to do well. So rather than shouting each other down, let's try and open up channels of communication. And let's try and find a way that we can maybe try and help in any small way, if we can as fans help, to ease this and give Klopp and the boys the best chance that they can do on the pitch. I think that's the long and short of it, really. I really wish we got Doku. Again, I don't want to keep going back over the transfer window. We spent months feeling like crap, banging our heads against the wall over it. A lot of people are fair weather fans, said Steve Nicol. There are, yes, I would agree with you, mate. I don't understand people, like if we lose one game, they're losing their minds over it. Calling for players to be dropped, calling for people to be sold, telling them to get out of their club. You're right, mate. That is despicable behaviour. And nobody should be doing that. And we should all understand that you're not going to win every game of football. Players won't always perform to the best, and try and form a broader opinion of things. Craig, is that what SOS is? SOS is, it's a voice for FSG. Yeah, so what I would say about Spirit of Shankly and Spy on Cop and all of these other fantastic supporters groups is kind of think of them as kind of like a supporters union for Liverpool fans. Now, sometimes people may find that they feel that some people may say that they think that they're more based on local fans, or that they're more based on overseas fans for specific groups. And I suppose, again, that's each individual personal choice. I think they do fantastic work, Spirit of Shankly and Spy and Cop, and I think that they always have the long-term goal of Liverpool supporters in mind in any decisions that they make. I don't know any of them. I've never met any of them, but I do follow their work from afar, and I do know that they certainly are very well clued up on everything that they're involved in with the club, and that they've made tremendous strides forward in breaking down barriers with FSG and trying to get fan representation and trying to get fans involved more in some decision making and stuff like that. And they absolutely deserve to be applauded and commended for that, because there's some very intelligent people there behind the scenes doing some great work. And, we should be thankful and grateful to have these people as Liverpool fans, trying to get the best for all of us. Right, what have we got? Bernadette Farrell, how are we, Bernadette? Said, this year was the worst for all fans being divided. We've always been the most united fans. You'll never walk alone. It's forgotten sometimes, Craig. And that's what breaks my heart, Bernadette. Because if we go back to 3 or 4 years ago, so the main stand was done and it was brilliant, and we were all happy that the capacity of Anfield was increased, and of course we all hoped tickets would become more readily available, but in actual terms there've probably been more corporate tickets. Now, here's where I am right now, and again, I'm just going to go on a bit of a talk here for a minute or two, so I won't be in the chat for a second. I'm just going to focus on this to try and get it all out, because there's a lot of falsehoods and a lot of myths out there. So let's talk about local fans for a second. Local fans rightly feel an attachment to the football club. It represents their city. It represents their beliefs about how things should be done. It represents their soul. They live and breathe it. It's been through generations. And I think sometimes local fans might feel that we, as in non-season ticket holders, or people that weren't born in and around Anfield, that we don't understand that they've suffered in all of this as well, because they have seen tickets become more scarce, and I can understand their frustration at it. They have seen ticket prices go up, and I can understand their frustration at it. I get it. I understand it. I understand that the people who are saying FSG out, they look at it and go, well, or some of them might look at it and go, hang on, how can you be FSG out, you idiot? We've been waiting 30 years for a league trophy. They've delivered that league trophy. They've delivered a European Cup, a Super Cup. They've delivered a Club World Cup. They've delivered Jurgen Klopp. We have to take this into account. They're very valid points. Of course, these people have every right to be thankful for that. Just the same as that other people on the other side who aren't so far gone, I believe, have valid points in critiquing FSG on certain things. Because let's not forget, everybody's critiqued FSG on certain things. The £77 ticket prices, the furloughing of staff, trying to copyright or trademark Liverpool from a footballing context. These are all things that the likes of Spirit of Shankly and Spy on Cop, that they've worked to help and try and remove. So there's just too much pulling apart. It doesn't have to be locals against overseas fans, or FSG in versus FSG out. Again, we all have a lot in common. All of us want the best thing. All of us are frustrated about tickets. Fuck it, I can't get to a game. But I understand, and I also understand how, if you grew up as a Scouser and your granddad went to the games and your dad went to the games and you've been going to the games and you want to bring your child to the games and you want to keep that going, I absolutely understand the frustration of not being able to get your hand on a ticket, or looking at people who are willing to pay, extortionate ticket prices via hospitality or travel agents or touts, and looking at them with suspicion. Of course I get that. I understand all of that. And I feel their pain. I do. But we're all in the same boat, and it all comes from the same thing. Football is not a working person's game anymore. It's no longer you work 5.5 days a week, you finish in a half day on Saturday, and you go to the game at 3 o'clock. You have a few pints in the pub, you go to the game. The soul has been ripped out of the game. And when that happened, I guess, is up to each person. Was it with the introduction of the Premier League? Was it with the globalization of football? I don't know. But we all, again, want the same thing. There's so much blaming going on. It's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. You don't understand this, you don't understand that. Well, let's fucking talk. Let's talk about it. Because we all want the club to do well. I want all the locals to get to games. Every time I go over to the city, I love it. Always warmly greeted over there, despite what people on Twitter say to me. You know, only ever had a positive experience with Scousers when I'm out and about. It's a beautiful city. And I'm sure that they also appreciate the influx of money that travellers bring to the city and the tourism. I'm sure that they get that as well. So what I'm trying to say is that we all have the same thing in common. And it breaks my heart to see people pointing the finger of blame at each other on social media and arguing. Because we all just want the club to do well. And we all want to be sitting there at 3 o'clock on a Saturday or whatever, hopefully inside the stadium or, you know, with mates watching it and enjoying it. Because we're at a time where we all agree we've got an amazing manager, a great bunch of lads, and we're doing quite well. So, you know, let's just try and pull back together. Again, people go, look at these fucking idiots. I get it. I'm here to be ridiculed, whatever. But I'm trying to say is I understand. Overseas fans understand. We feel we're looked down upon. Local fans feel that they're victimised or they're vilified by other people. But where is this division coming from? It's coming from a lack of availability of tickets. It's coming from the globalisation of the sport. It's coming from the you know, football becoming unaffordable to so many of us. Like, there's this myth out there that all locals hate foreigners and all foreigners travelling in have an excess of money and are willing to pay over the top for tickets. And the truth is, neither of them are true. The truth is always closer to the middle. And the middle is, we all want to go to the game. And that's not a bad thing. So all I'm saying is, just you know, I'll try it. I've been an asshole at times. But let's just try and bring it back together and get to the You'll Never Walk Alone part and get to moving forward rather than dividing us and having opposition fans pointing in. Because all this arguing and all this bitterness, it doesn't benefit Klopp. It doesn't benefit the lads on the pitch. It doesn't benefit our psyches and it doesn't benefit our soul as fans. And it takes away the enjoyment of the game at a time when that enjoyment is already being ripped apart by the cost of shirts, the cost of going to games, your BT, your Sky subscriptions, all of that shit. So again, I'm nobody. I don't claim to be a spokesperson for fans. I'm just an Irish idiot who loves the club. And I also hate seeing fans arguing. So that's my 2 cents on it all. And again, open to comments to whatever you guys have to say, but that's how I feel about it. What else we got? I want to watch a game from South Africa. It cost my parents everything to watch a game. Manophilia. It's you know, and there are people from Australia as well, or from America or Canada, or from Ireland or wherever Europe. Sometimes it's a once in a lifetime trip. Sometimes it's you know, it take a year saving or something to go to a game. And I hope you get there someday, man. And I hope you get to experience it because it's a beautiful thing. I'll never forget. You know, every time I'm lucky enough to go to Anfield, you know, that feeling of walking up the steps and you start to see the green of the pitch emerge, and then you start to hear the noise and you get the smells and you walk, and nostalgia hits you. You can feel the stadium and the history and the beauty of what you're seeing in front of you. So I hope you get to experience that, dude. I really do. Gaming Time said, you're right, Craig, we have a big divide in our fan base in loads of ways, but overall we all want to do well. Yeah, we do. That's what baffles me at times. We do. We all want the same thing. We all want more European Cups. We all want more league titles. We all want more memories. We all want more stories that we can tell to our kids and our mates and our grandkids and our husbands and our wives and our friends and our dogs and our goldfish and everybody else. We all want the same thing because we all love the club. We all fell in love for different reasons, you know, whether it be Rome or whether it was Istanbul or whether it was Stevie G in the cup final against West Ham or whatever it was. You got the bug, you fell in love with the club, and your heart is there. And your feelings are as valid whether you're from Liverpool city centre, whether you're from another part of the world. You want the same thing. You want the club to do well because you love it. Who was injured, Craig, mate? Right, so right now there's a precautionary warning over Harvey Elliott, who was taken out of the England under-21 squad. It's believed that the club are optimistic that he'll be available for the game against Leeds on Sunday. And then Takumi Minamino picked up a knocker strain as well, which is, I think, more likely to see him missing the squad. Other than that, I'm not aware of any new injuries, mate. And we don't know what's going on with Bobby yet. You know, we don't have any official word from the club about when Bobby will be back available for selection. I love your enthusiasm for your club, Craig. Thank you. You know, sometimes I just wish that the people that tried to fucking end me, ruin me, cancel me, destroy my life, lie about me, so many horrible... I just wish they took the fucking time to get to know me, rather than just claim that I'm this or I'm that. I'm sick of it. Like, I just wish people would come in and watch and talk and see that, you know, a 30-second clip doesn't encapsulate everything that we have on the channel with regards to me, or with regards to the community, or with regards to what we talk about. You know, they're all just moments. And in the big picture, like, I claim to be an idiot and joke at times, but I like to think I'm a fairly clued in person with you know, and as you get older, I suppose, I was angrier the younger I was as well. I guess as I get older, and as I head for the big 4-0 on Saturday, I guess maybe I've been reflecting a bit as well on some of my own mistakes over the years and some of the things that I've done wrong. And I just want to try and help bridge this divisiveness in our fan base, if I can in any way help. If I can't help, I tried. If people mock me, I tried. But at least I'm fucking trying. At least I want to do something. I don't want to be on Twitter every day arguing with people over stuff that, you know, is either so far gone one way or so far gone the other way. You know, let's just be rational and reasonable. How was your weekend? Said Rehan. It was brilliant, mate. Very good, thank you. Very enjoyable. It's all this dynasty talk, but the older generation of fans were grateful to just see a Premier League title race who do come to an end, which we won emphatically against an oil club, dubbed on media top Reds. And man, I said that, Riz, earlier on. I absolutely understand that. And I can absolutely understand why people who have waited that long and have been going week in and week out, maybe a bit like confused as to why people are screaming about wanting change and everything's done wrong. Again, the truth's in the middle. FSG haven't done everything right and they haven't done everything wrong. They've done some things terribly, some things really well. And if we're going to have a grown-up and fair talk and conversation about this, we've got to acknowledge all of those things. So we've got to acknowledge the progress the club has made. We've got to acknowledge that we don't have Paul Konchesky or, you know, the Milan Jovanoviches of this world playing, or Christian Poulsen anymore. No, we're fortunate enough that we get to see Virgil van Dijk, Mohamed Salah, Bobby Firmino, Alisson Becker. And that is because of the owners, because of Jurgen Klopp, because of recruitment, because of clever recruitment, because of living within our means, because of selling to buying. So we can have all that conversation, but we also have to understand that people are rightly annoyed about a perceived lack of investment this summer, of which I am one. I believe we should have done more this summer. About the £77 tickets, about the furloughing of staff, about the European Super League. So people are rightly pissed off about them as well, because it's against everything that we believe, and I think that locals believe, that the club stands for. Its socialist roots. I believe when we look at our manager, we see somebody that we can all relate to. Somebody who we all believe genuinely gets us as fans. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. You know, I'm sure I'll be clipped up, put onto Twitter and called a bald twat or a fat prick or threatened or what the usual stuff, but I don't see what benefit that does. You know what I mean? I think we should just try and sort it out between ourselves, and because if we keep at it, all that's going to happen is we're going to turn into Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? We're going to have a fan base that is just laughed at from afar because we're ripping ourselves apart, when really we all want success. And God, we want success. We don't want to be a modern Leeds United. We have 2 dodgy years after Klopp goes, the bottom falls out of everything, said Brian, which is very true. Remember, Jurgen Klopp himself said he wanted to leave the club in a better position when he leaves than when he arrived. And he didn't just mean with regards to trophies. He meant with regards to, you know, the club more stable on every footing. With regards to the academy and the development structure. With regards to the players, the squad that's left to the next manager that comes in after him. And, you know, Jurgen Klopp went to FSG and proposed Kirby, and they backed him. And that fantastic new training facility is there. And Alex Inglethorpe and the coaching staff at the underage level do a tremendous job. And I'm sure will help bridge and hopefully provide a conveyor belt, because we all love the idea of a youngster coming through the academy, making it into the first team and becoming a superstar. There's nothing more fulfilling to all of our souls than seeing that happen, because you feel like you've got a cheat code, or you feel like, you know, you haven't had to go out and spend 100 million quid. And we all love the idea of that, let's be honest. Whether you're from, you know, Liverpool or whether you're from Timbuktu, it doesn't matter. We all love that. We all want to see academy products and local kids coming through. Of course we do. Hats off to you, Craig, for giving a balanced argument there. We are a great club. Never forget this ladies. Yes, man, it's the reason we all fell in love with it. I fell in love with Liverpool. I said, I was mesmerised. That night we lost 2-0 to Arsenal and they won the first division. I was mesmerised by the Liverpool fans applauding off the travelling Arsenal team. I was mesmerised by the cop. And, you know, you can't help it when you get the bug. You know, when the club bites you, when you fall in love, when this is your club, yeah, it's for reasons, because we all identify. And I have loads of other things on top of this as well, of course. Immigration, a lot of it, or emigration from Ireland to England. Well, most people arrived in Liverpool from Ireland when they emigrated. They arrived on the Liverpool boat. So that's why there's a lot of Rooneys and Carragers and Irish names in and around the city of Liverpool. It's why I think Scousers and Irish people are really alike. It's one of the reasons that drew me to the club as well. Because, you know, I believe Scousers are very similar to Irish people. Green Frog Gaming said, sorry guys, money gets things done. You need to put your money where your mouth is. Look at Chelsea, Man City, etc. You can't compare apples and oranges though, dude. So you're talking about Chelsea and Manchester City. One of them, Manchester City, is a state-backed club. That's a fact. You know, people will come at me about that. Manchester City fan. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. Well, I am saying it's wrong actually. Yeah, fuck it, it's wrong. They're a state-backed club. So how can you compete with that? Imagine England. Imagine how Lizzie there sitting in Buckingham Palace decided, fuck it, I'm going to buy Malaga FC. And she went over and she used state money to buy Malaga and turned Malaga into the next Manchester City or Paris Saint-Germain. Now, you think about 200 million quid, let's say, for the deal for Kylian Mbappe, and we all wonder how on earth PSG could turn down that money. It's because 200 million quid to a country is fuck all. Even to a country like Ireland, it's relatively tiny compared to 200 million quid to a business. And that's the difference here. Liverpool's a business and a football club. Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain, they're state-backed entities. That's a fact. Now, Chelsea, Abramovich is a Russian oil tycoon. We know this. We know he's got a lot of money. And we know that he is happy to lavish that money on Chelsea Football Club. Whether that's morally right or wrong, he's able to do it because of the rules that are in place. But that's not the way our owners operate. Or that's not what we were told how they would operate. We were told we would be able to compete. Don't get me wrong. We were told that. But we don't have sugar daddies. And I guess my point here is, if Manchester City's owners, or if Chelsea's owner, or if PSG's owners ever got bored, called in the debts, called in the money they've invested in the club, they could asset strip it and turn them into dust, just poof, gone overnight. And it could happen. It's happened around Europe before. So, you know, FSG have had some good points and some bad points. And you can make up your own mind how you feel about them. But don't compare the way our football club is to Abramovich or to Sheikh Mansour or to Qatari-based investment. It's just not fair. It's just something that you cannot... I don't want sugar daddy owners. I don't. I'll be the first one to say it. I don't want Liverpool to be a rich man's plaything. I want somewhere in the middle. I kind of do want owners like FSG, but maybe a little bit more, I don't want to say ambition, but a slight bit more risk involved than the risk-averse decisions that they seem to make. But yeah, can you imagine that? As I said, as an example, imagine the Queen of England or whatever went and bought a football club and just used state money to fund the football club. Of course it would be able to outdo any other football club because they wouldn't be able to compete. They wouldn't be able to compete with a nation's wealth, let alone an oil-rich nation's wealth. And that's before you get into the stuff about PR and before you get into the stuff about, going deep diving into maybe why these clubs have bought, or these clubs were bought by who they were bought by, and how you get into maybe how is, PSG's president now suddenly gone from being vilified a lot of the time to now sitting at the head of the European Clubs Association and manoeuvring himself into a very nice position there by staying away from the Super League. And, these things are no accident. They're no accident, folks. City's title mean nothing to me. Meaning behind it. I'm the same, mate. I've said it time and time again, and I'll repeat it. I don't want Manchester City or PSG to ever, 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 ever get their hands on the European Cup. I don't want them to get that credibility that they believe will come with lifting all big ears, because I don't believe they deserve that credibility. I'm slightly different on Chelsea because, and I could be being a hypocrite here, and I'm open to that, but yeah, I do think Abramovich front-loaded when he came in, and I do think he splurged a lot of money at Chelsea, but look at Chelsea's window now. Look at what they've brought in this summer. We'll talk about the money they spent on Lukaku. We'll talk about all the other stuff, but look at how much they brought in through the system that they've used of loaning players around Europe to feed their clubs, getting them experience and selling them on. They've made a lot of money. So maybe Manchester City's argument or PSG's argument will be that we want to become self-sustaining. We want to get to that point where the club starts making profit. But my argument against that is more, I don't believe, my own opinion, that their commercial partnerships and their sponsorships are market value. I believe they're inflated, and they're inflated by, again, in my opinion, stay-friendly sponsors. Not market value. Because there's no one can tell me that Paris Saint-Germain or PSG have a greater fan base around the world than Barcelona, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Manchester United, Bayern Munich. There's no way. There's no way. We know it. We see the empty seats inside the stadiums. And then we see what it's like when Man United go on a pre-season tour or Liverpool go on a pre-season tour. You see the worldwide fan base. You see the scramble to get tickets. That's the difference. We're treated like idiots, but we're not fucking idiots. We know that no viable company is going to look at Manchester City or PSG and go, they're a brand that is more valuable for us to sell shirts or pitch it to around the world. No, the market value is not there. The market value is with the clubs with the actual worldwide fan bases. That's where I am. You should get Yuri Tielemans. I would have loved Yuri Tielemans, but he's got that new I don't even know if he signed it. Has he signed that new deal at Leicester? Chelsea were a borderline Champions League side before Abramovich. He just gave them the final push. That's true, and it was the season where they pipped us, I believe, if my memory is right. And look, it is a bit dodgy. I think it was the season they pipped us and pushed us out of a Champions League place that Abramovich then came in, and once they had secured that Champions League football. I think you're spot on that one, Mark, and I think if my memory's right, that's the truth. Hey Craig, will Salah stay? Alex, I can't tell you anything conclusively, mate, because I don't have any information that you don't have, but my feeling is yes, he will stay. My reading of the situation and how things are is that he will stay, and that there isn't this big divide in this wage, I won't say argument because that's not fair, negotiation, as some people are reporting. D. Pearce said, our club is an institution. When the oil money dries up, our club, United, Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern, Juventus, will still be at the top. Exactly. Because they are historic institutions, as you've said, mate, that have generation after generation of fans around the world. That's why PSG branded more as a brand than a club, because they know they can't compete with our fan bases, says Fahim. I'm a United fan, hate Liverpool, but at the same time have total respect for your club, Craig. And that's it, mate. Match day rivalries, I want to take United's head off. United fans want to take our heads off. We want to destroy you. We want to go batter you on that pitch 5-0. And the same the other way. But go back into history and look at when the Munich air disaster happened, and look at Hillsborough when that happened. The two clubs behind the scenes have done an awful lot of good together, and there was a mutual respect there. There is, of course, tribal nature, of course, Manchester and Liverpool, two competing cities. But as you've said, there is respect there. And that's important. And I think that's why, weirdly, City have kind of nearly, I won't say pushed Liverpool United fans more together, but we certainly look at them in a similar way, I think, with regards to questions. Grealish 100 million, do me a favour. That's it, Jason. To me, Jack Grealish was only worth £100 million to two clubs. To Manchester City and to Aston Villa. To Aston Villa, because he's their boy, came up through their system, a local, and they know what they would need to replace him and how important he was to them. So they had a number that they agreed with Jack Grealish. If a Premier League, Champions League qualifying club came in with that number, 100 million quid, that they do business if Grealish wanted it. City were the only club that felt 100 million quid was the valuation that they felt they would be happy to pay. So I don't see anybody else in the world that would have paid 100 million quid for Jack Grealish. He is an exceptionally good footballer. Not trying to belittle the lad's ability. He is top notch. But again, you know, nobody else was willing to pay 100 million quid for the lad. Thanks for answering my question. My pleasure, Alex. Yeah, no worries, dude. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call that one a night. It's been a long stream tonight, an hour 20, but I've really enjoyed catching up with you all. Again, I'll be back tomorrow. I'm recording with Rory Stories, actually, for Craig Station tomorrow. So we've a couple of things we have already in the bank. We've got the interview with Gary Spike O'Sullivan already recorded. I'll get that one recorded tomorrow at Rory Stories as well. That, you know, they'll be going out soon enough over on Craig Station. Please do hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the video. And of course, if you're watching this back later on, let me know your thoughts on anything that I've spoken about tonight. But most importantly, thank you for your time as always. Really appreciate it. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 8:45 again. This week's Cop the Week with myself, Steve Bland and Jack Gill. We'll be doing that live on Thursday night. So look, let's try and stay positive and let's start working ahead to the game against Leeds on Sunday. Love to you all. Take care.